Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lion-Hearted Dental Podcast, where courage meets purpose, and every conversation is an opportunity to inspire and ignite the lion within us. I'm Dr. L Rasner, your host, and tonight I do have a very, very special guest that I'm about to introduce. So I hope you've all been enjoying the podcast format for the last several months with my man, Tony Rivera, behind the camera. And I hope it seems like you guys enjoy it. When I bring on people that can talk to you, I really try to think of somebody that would interest me. And tonight's guest is probably by far the most versatile dentist I know on the planet. And we've had some big guys here. We've had Picos, we've had Strupp, but I don't know nobody as versatile as Dr. Paul Feuerstein. Welcome, Paul. How are you?
Steve, fine.
Yeah.
That's my introduction.
Well, it's true. I mean, if you'll...
I've done a lot of stuff.
He's done a lot of stuff. So let me just run some of his background by you, okay? In undergrad studies, check this out. He majored and studied chemistry, physics, math, computer science, which had a big influence on his direction of his career, and music, which also he's got some cool things I want to share with you there as well. Join me on October 18th and 19th for 2+ days of inspiration and real business training. This is the course that changes everything. Attendance is limited. Register now. I mean, just for the record, I was a psych major at Rutgers undergraduate. I took the minimum requirements to get into dental school, and that was, as you guys all know, 2 years of chemistry. I don't know, was it 2 years of math? I don't even remember. But they were my electives. I didn't take one more physics or chem course than I needed to take. So he minored in music, and even throughout dental school, you had a record contract?
Yeah, I was in dental school in Jersey City, and I used to take, there's a thing called the Path. Those of you in the New York area know the Path. The PF goes from Jersey City into Manhattan.
Yeah, I know it.
So I go a couple of times a week and played in little bands and played in bars and get finished at 3 a.m. and come back to school to see my 7 o'clock patient. I was young, I could do it.
Yeah.
And let me say, this is bizarre. Looking back, I used to get on this Path with 2 guitars in my 2 cases with me and sat on the subway with these things. I mean, how far would that last today?
Not too far, my friend.
And back at 2 a.m. So that was my dental school, and so I played in bands. And the short story is that I got a very good band together. It was a folk rock band, kind of like Spanky and Our Gang or Mamas and Papas type of band. I was the musical guy. I did all the instruments. I played many instruments in this thing. And Decca Records picked us up. We were playing different bars.
Really?
And my junior year of dental school, they came up with a contract and said, Paul, here's what's going to happen. You the band, we're going to go out and tour for a year. Just quit school for a year. You come back to school after a year, and we'll do your record, and we'll record the record. And I'm like, quit dental school for a year? My parents go, you're going to be a dead person. You're not going to be quitting dental school for a year.
Well,
so,
am I mistaken, or did I call you like several months ago? It was a weekend, and aren't you still playing in a band now?
Yes and no. I play with a group of friends around. I'm in Lowell, Massachusetts. There's a bunch of people we play together on and off as just informal. But I was asked to put a band together of dentists, a bunch of dentists, play at a dental conference. It happened to be in a small place called Stockholm, Sweden. And I put this band together, so we spent a year rehearsing online, just like this with Zoom and things like that. Yeah. We had never played together until the day we got into the place. And it was very complex rehearsals. And when the people at the event came into this, it was a big, actually it was a brewery where there was a big dinner. They were like, oh my God, isn't that Paul? Isn't that good? They're like, holy crap. And it went over. It really went over. So that was my first big band in I don't know how many years. But I played through. What we did in New York City was all the clubs. This is, obviously I'm in school in the 70s, and that was actually in the 70s. The clubs would have during weekdays, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes Thursday, they bring in anybody who would come and
Right.
play for free. But there were people sitting in there with their little notepads, and they'd be taking notes and stuff like that. And there were talent scouts and stuff like that. And then at the end of the week, you'd get a call and say, "Yeah, you're going to be playing at this restaurant on Thursday or Friday." It was they're called showcases. That was what it was called. And we did very well. We did a lot of stuff. We played at Rodney Dangerfield's place at Dangerfield's.
Yeah.
We one time we were the last. It was 1 and 2 it was the two last people standing. It was our group and Gregory Hines.
Wow, I know who Gregory Hines is. Yeah.
And we got the deal because they wanted a rock band. They wanted a band. And we were watching this kid going, "Holy crap!" I mean, he was dancing and singing and doing everything else.
Wow.
And he was minorly known. So yeah, so we had this contract. We went to the studio. Our producer was Paul Simon's brother, named Eddie Simon, who every single day said, "Paul's my brother." Yeah, Eddie, you told us yesterday.
Is that what you guys did? Like, did you have a record contract while you were in dental school? Because for my class of 1980, we had a third string quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Wow. We had a guy that starred in a play the entire 4 years we were in dental school. We had like the racquetball champion of Eastern United States. This guy right here, Steve Rasner, I didn't take my nose out of a book for 4 years. And I hung on by the skin of my teeth. I did not have the bandwidth or the talent to do anything but try to get through dental school. That's the absolute truth. And you know what? It worked.
Yeah, I mean, I was a good student, and truthfully, because of my background in the chemistry and everything else, during biochem and dental school, I'd be slipping in the back row,
Not me. Not me.
I mean, every sweat in biochemistry, and that was like my major, so it didn't really matter anyway. So the end, the quick story is when I really sat down and thought about this crystal ball of being this big rock star. I was a good guitar player. I played keyboards. I played saxophone, flute, clarinet, oboe, bassoon. It was a bizarre combination. But I wasn't the greatest. I was good.
Yeah.
And parents told me, they were kind of pretty blunt. They said, someday this band's going to make it, and they're going to say, "Hey, we found a better guitar player." And it was embarrassing to me, but I said, "Yeah, it's reality." And the other problem, and I'm just being very honest, at that time in the 70s, when you went down to play somewhere, there was a lot of stuff happening in the back rooms with a lot of smoke going on and things like that. And I thought, I'll probably make it for 3 years and I'll be dead in a bathtub in France or something,
By the way, in case I don't want to jump the gun, but we are talking about to the editor-in-chief today of Dentistry Today. So, I feel like it's kind of 60 minutes me interviewing him tonight.
So I'll make that a short segue. So I stayed with dental school. My expertise was in the physics and math and all that sort of thing. So as equipment started coming in, we got a dental chair, and I took it apart and figured out what was this little dial for, because I knew how they construct these things. And then all of a sudden, the manufacturers got wind of me, and they went, "We're doing making a new cabinet. Can you figure out where the wiring should be and stuff like that?" And then computers came out, and I'm talking in the 70s. This is before Bill Gates. This is before Microsoft or Windows or anything, DOS, whatever. But I was a trained programmer, and I thought, we could use a program in dental practices. I didn't know what to do with it. So when my friends were buying cars, they were making some money. They were buying cars. I went and bought a $20,000 computer in 1978.
To do what with it?
The thing was, first of all, the thing was about the size of a washing machine. And the hard drive I can't even fit it in the screen. It was this big, and it was 2 megabytes, if that tells you. And it was made by Xerox. And it printed bills. It was so cool. We could print bills. And then we could actually print insurance forms. And then there was nothing sophisticated. It was all written in this language called DOS, and it's something called machine language. And I worked with these people with it, and then they were selling it, and I was their spokesperson because this dentist understood 2 languages. And then as it evolved, and finally when PCs came out, I was like, I'm thinking, look, my computer's as big as a house, and this thing's like this big. How did they do that? So I took those apart, and then I started bringing those to dental meetings to dentists who were saying, what would I use it? Like you just said, well, what do I need a computer for? I said, well, this is what it'll do. It can do printing this, then you can print out stuff.
What year are you talking about at this point? When you started?
80.
80, okay. When did you graduate, Paul?
72.
Okay, go ahead. Wow.
So I go, I'm at the ADA meeting, and what was the guy's name who used to chop up watermelons? And Gallagher. I was like, Gallagher. So I take a computer, I bring a computer into the room and say, okay, listen, here's what you got to know. I ripped the cover off and said, this is called a hard drive. This is your memory. And this is the memory sticks. And this is the keyboard. And these are the pieces. So when you buy a computer, you'll know what to buy. And ran this thing for a couple of years at every single meeting. I was in Chicago midwinter. Hey, Paul's going to teach us how to do computers. And then the software companies came to me and said, can you help us write the software? So I was always in the bottom line. So I go, well, I'm using COBOL and these other languages. And they go, so we have the programs are sitting here, and they want to know what a 30MOD is. I go, what do you mean? What does that stand for? I go, okay, guys, there's 16 teeth on the top and there's 16 teeth on the bottom. So I was the translator from the computer programmers to understand the dentistry, and a couple of computer programs that have kind of a couple of them floating around in pieces had my stamp underneath them. And then as equipment got more complicated, the equipment manufacturers would come to me. Hey, Paul, we have a thing called an intraoral camera. It costs $30,000. It's this giant box. What do you think of this? And so on and so on. So
I remember when they came out.
Yeah, they were the AccuCam,
yes,
names like this.
Yes.
So yeah, we had all this stuff. So I was the inventor of them. I was just the dental resource. I was the beta tester for all these things. And then at some point, other things started happening in dentistry, and then I got involved because of my chemistry. I had to learn about composites, adaptic. We used adaptic. We switched over to light cure. I had to learn about UV light and V light and all the different colors of light, and again working with the manufacturers. So it was a lot of fun. I didn't know how to charge for it. That was the problem. I should have been a bazillionaire by the time I was, 5 years later. I was just giving it away. Oh, sure. Call me, give me a call. I'll come down to you. I'll fly to Minnesota and sit down with the guys at 3M and see what's going on.
I swear that's what I'm sitting here thinking about. If I was as smart as you, I would be worth a whole lot of money right now. I would have used a lot of that to develop stuff.
Book smart.
Oh my God.
So, my pièce de résistance was in around 2004 or so. I get this call from some guys from MIT. It's a little school in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I know it.
And they go, Paul, we understand you understand all this stuff here, and we're doing something called a 3D in-the-mouth camera. It's going to take 3D images of teeth. There's one called CEREC. We're going to make our own thing. And we spent 2 years and developed our own intraoral scanner. And it was the name of the company, for those of you historians, it was called Brontes, Brontes. And it didn't live long because we were just about to launch. We had sort of done a soft launch, and the two founders, who, by the way, were 29 years old, these two MBAs, one guy was from Harvard, one guy was from Dartmouth. Hey, Paul, we got some interesting news. Is that good or bad? He goes, well, here's the good news. The good news is that we just got a knock on the door the other day from 3M, and they bought the company. I go, they bought the company? I said, how could you sell something? It's not even done. They go, they offered us $100 million.
Get out of here.
I said, that's what I said. I said, so what's the bad news? He says, well, first of all, they want you to come out to Minnesota and help them with the project. I said, I'm not moving. I'm in Massachusetts. I'm not going. And second of all, you're not one of the owners.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts me.
They were invested. I mean, out of that $100 million, there was a ton of money invested by all these people. So the two founders ended up with a lot of millions of dollars, and they actually now are still active venture capitalists outside of medicine and dentistry. They have nothing to do with dentistry.
Oh my God! So you go ahead.
I got paid. I was the clinical director. I spent a lot of time. I got paid for all the things I did. But so it turned into the 3M True Definition camera, which was around for a while. Had some issues with it. 3M dropped the product. They sold it to a company called Midmark a couple of years ago. Midmark called me. They said, could you help us with this thing? I said, this is like old technology, but sure. And then the next thing I know, Midmark dropped it, so it disappeared. It's gone.
Okay.
The only thing that was worthwhile is I believe I was just told recently that one of the other companies that are out there bought the company for like nothing. because it's some piece of software or some intellectual property that was very important, because we did foundational stuff. This is before there were only 3 computers out there, 3 scanners at the time. So anyway, that's so. And then and in all of this, I still had a dental practice. So
that's what I was going to ask you. So
yeah,
you practiced from when to when, or do you still practice?
I'm still practicing 3 days a week.
You do?
I have patients today. Yeah. So, but the beautiful thing about at this point in my career is I actually sold my core practice about a little more than 10 years ago.
Okay.
Associate, and that freed me up to go work there for a while. And then I went to a friend. I had a friend's office. He said, "Paul, I got this room. We'd love to have you over here. Do whatever the hell you want. You have nothing administrative, no payroll, no accounts receivable. You just do dentistry all day long. We'll pay you like an associate." And that's what I do now. So I go, if I want to do 2 hours to do 20, they don't care. They kind of care, but so I'm just a dentist now.
So tell me about this, because this, I mean, you're the editor. Is Dentistry Today the biggest circulating journal in dentistry?
I would say I think so. I'm pretty sure it is. It has the highest level of continuous readership. I think it really is.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you just, I see how intellectual you are and how busy you are, and you're certainly not boasting about it. It's just a part of Paul Feuerstein. How does that happen? Like, how do you become the editor of the biggest magazine?
So going back to the 80s, I used to write little newsletters. There was a guy in California named Bob Davis who had a little newsletter, and so a couple of us friends, had a little group, core of a couple of geeks, would write these little page newsletters, what's the latest in technology, what's this, and this, and this. Yeah. And one day I'm at a meeting, and this guy taps me on the shoulder. His name was Dr. Joe Blaze, editor-in-chief of
Dental Economics. Yeah.
And he says, I've been watching you, Paul. He says, would you like to do a column in the magazine on technology? And I said, and they actually had somebody doing that. And I said, well, this guy's doing it. And he says, you have a different look at it. We don't have, we could have 2. And so he said, we'll do a column every month. So every month for every single month since 1999, I had a column due at the end of the month. Okay. And like in school, it was due Monday and Sunday, and I'm going, Jesus, my thing is due tomorrow. I got to write about something. So I probably have 400 articles written over the years. Yeah. And then at a certain point, it's like kind of like a baseball trade. I got traded over to Dentistry Today, so I was doing it for Dentistry Today. And then the editor-in-chief there, Damon Adams, who'd been there for 20 plus years, called me up. He says, Paul, I'm leaving the magazine. I'm retiring. You want to apply for this? I said, what do I got to do? He said, just read articles. Oh, okay, that's easy. He lied. He flat out lied. What I do every day of the week, 7 days and nights, and I've talked to you at nights. So I get articles submitted to me.
Right.
I have to look at the article, see if it makes any sense, see if it's legitimate. I don't have to do the
editing, right.
But I have to do some basic editing and say, okay, this qualifies, has certain qualifications, has certain number of pictures, and the pictures are decent. And then I shoot it off to some editors who take care of photography, how good the things are. And then we have to stuff it into 2 pages or 3 pages. And then I get it back to review.
Time out. Wait a minute. How many hours a week do you do this?
Every day, every night.
And you still practice too, right?
Those 3 days, yeah. So again, then keep in mind, I leave the office, I have nothing to do other than, I don't have to be doing any administration. I'm treating plans, things like that. I'll stay late. But
do you have to read every article that's submitted? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Every single article, and some of them, and I solicit them too. I see people. I'll bump into you and say, Steve, can you do me? How would you like to write an article on oral surgery or something like that? So I do some solicitation, but sometimes people just randomly send in articles to us, and we also get people who are not dentists who send me, I have a great idea for an article. Why you should brush your teeth. Really? And just let me go on a little soapbox here.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence has arrived.
Sure.
It's a lot of crap now that people who never wrote in their lives, they just, all they have to do is put a title into artificial intelligence at ChatGPT or something like that.
Right.
And say, give me 800 words, give me 1,000 words, and it writes the whole article. But it's usually, to me, because I've used it myself, I'm kind of obvious. what's going
Sure.
on.
Sure.
So I'm limiting it now. We're limiting it pretty strictly to.
Join me on October 18th and 19th for 2+ days of inspiration and real business training. This is the course that changes everything. Attendance is limited. Register now.
Clinical articles, clinical cases by dentists. So I want to see. I mean, I have some viewpoint articles, some very, very cool things. I have, people who talk about oral systemic issues, things like that. But for now, I'm looking for really hard content, beautifully documented cases where I want to. My rules are: the patient walked in the door, or if they fell down the stairs, I want to know what happened, what the initial visit was about, what records did you take? Did you take combing? Did you do the scan? Did you do this or that? And then follow me through the treatment plan. And even if the treatment plan failed, that's fine. But I want to see the sequence. But I want it to be for every GP. It doesn't have to be a full, complete restoration of the whole head.
Sure. So this is a good talking point, because I know a lot of you out there who really have ascended in your career, whether I had anything to do with it or not. A lot of you say I do. It doesn't matter. But many of you have asked me, how do I get started in publishing articles? So just give me a quick 30 seconds. What should they do?
My email address is simple. It's at the magazine. It says Dr. Paul, DRPAUL, at dentistrytoday.com. And I will look at submissions, and I'm very honest. I mean, I'm really honest about it. But if I don't even need, most dentists say, well, I can't write an article because I don't write.
Right.
And I see things. I see people posting cases on Facebook, and I go, I'll hold on. I said, send it to me. Send me the case, and pretend you're standing in front of a room and presenting the case and write it. And we have to change it from first person. You can't say, I did. You have to write the case as it came in through.
Yes.
And give it to me, and give me some good. I need really good photography and a sequence. But I want it to be understandable by a GP who's never done this before or has done this. Let me give a shout out to Rob Lowe, very, very good friend of mine. He gave me an article one year about, my first year in, about a patient who chipped number 7, a little tiny corner of number 7 chipped.
Okay.
So he bonded it. He used, I forget which material he used. He used etched it, bonded it, all this stuff, and made a beautiful, beautiful thing. And a month later, the guy broke it again. So the guy comes back, Bob does it again, and he looked at this and that, he put it back again, and a couple of months later, it broke again. And as we all probably figured out, it was some occlusal issue. And that was the whole article. That was one of the most read articles that we ever had about this guy that chipped number 7. So everything, I get 12 crowns, 16 implants, and 6 on 5 or 4.
See, you see what he's saying? I mean, Rob Lowe got published for a chip on the distal of number 7. Yeah. They will publish things let me tell you what I know. As long as you have great photography, okay, don't take it to pictures with your cell phone, or do you? Right?
No. I mean, you can, but
don't do it. Get good documentation, right? And do something that's relatable. It does not have to be a podium case, if you know what I mean. It doesn't have to, right?
I need the steps. I mean, we have to break. I mean, we're breaking down. I used this etchant and washed it off. And I put on microprime or Gluma. I did that. I dried it. I put on this. I put this matrix band on it. And because here's the asterisk. The magazine is a commercial venture. This is not the JADA. It's not peer review. Well, there's some peer review. I'm basically peer review. We depend on advertising. So I need to see what products did you use.
Right.
What happens is once I see the article, I submit it to other people in the magazine and say, hey, they used 3M Filtech, they used Ultradent this, and they used Tokiyama that. And the salespeople will call up Tokiyama and say, hey, Dr. Rasner wrote an article and mentioned your new composite omnichrome or whatever it is. And so they sell ads against the articles. So that's
legit.
So if you look at the articles themselves, everything's in parentheses. I etched the tooth, parentheses, 3M blue etch, whatever it is. So it's kind of, and if it's missing, I'll go back to the author and say, what scanner did you use?
Right.
What 3D printer was that? What was the resin that you used? So one of that specific. So the money you get it for free. You get this. You have no idea what publishing costs right now. Paper, ink, the people that do it. Postage is, I'm talking $50,000+ for postage. I mean, we send it out. So that's an important piece, and this is happening. It's not just myself. It's dental economics, dental products report, inside dentistry. We all talk to each other,
Yeah.
and we're on the same boat.
Yeah.
The other challenge right now, and this is the publishing challenge, is that my younger dentists don't even pick up a piece of paper. They go, magazine? Why would I look at a magazine? And so there's a whole online contingent. So articles can go online. I think we can do video. So if you did a case, if Rob Lowe did a case with this little chipped tooth, he could actually come online and would shoot a little video like this, a 10-minute video. Say, how'd you do that thing?
Sure.
So we're trying to push it a little bit over to online. The one cachet that Dentistry Today has, it's still a giant magazine. The other magazines are smaller. It's a big magazine.
Sure.
So on your cell phone, if you have a case with a bunch of photos, you can't see 20 photos at a time. But when you open 2 pages, you can. So that's the beauty of the hard. And we're finding that even, we're seeing with that, we do some analytics. There are still a lot of young dentist readers to the magazine. More pushed online, no question. But if we can keep putting out this product on a good piece of paper, that is actually a well-made piece,
high quality paper.
Yeah, quality paper, yeah. And the large format at this point, if we can still continue to do this and survive, let's keep going. But we've everybody, all the magazines have shifted also to very online, and we'll do little pieces like this, Steve.
Yeah.
And post these. During COVID, I was sitting here in the same exact room, and every morning we didn't actually record it. We didn't always record at 10 o'clock, but every morning at 10 o'clock we posted a video, a 10-minute video, and it was called 10 at 10.
Mm-hmm.
I did every single weekday we did one, and I had everybody from. I had Stanley Bergman, I had people like that, I had the CEO of this company, I had Chuck Cohen from Benco, I had some schmo in New Jersey, I said, I went overseas, I had talked to a couple of friends in London who would, what are you doing in COVID? And it was killing it. We killed it. Every day it was like, who's on next?
So let me say this to you guys, because I know what they're thinking, some of them. I know what it feels like to go into a career and literally palpably feel your skills change, feel like you're a really good dentist. And when you get to that, a lot of you want to share it. Like, you don't want to just be anonymous anymore. Well, here's a vehicle. Let me tell you what happens if they publish you, and if you get published more than once. Organizations want to hear from you. So then that can lead to a backdoor to a speaking career if you're interested in that. It makes you a better dentist. All of it does.
Let me give you a specific example. As a good friend now, I saw a guy on Facebook, a dentist on Facebook, and he was using, I think it was a 3-shape scan. Yeah, it was 3-shape scanner, and he did his crown. He scanned his crown, and he was just showing off.
Yeah.
And he used ExoCAD to design the crown, and did this. And he had a mill, it was his own mill, and he went through this whole workflow on Facebook, just on a Facebook group. So I get a hold of this guy, and I go, "That's cool." I said, "Would you like to do an article like that?" He goes, "I don't know how to write." I said, "Just did." I said, "Let's take what you did on Facebook, we'll plop it together." And so I'm being very honest right now.
Yeah, good.
So I bring this article to the publisher. His name is Jim, and he goes, "Who the hell is this guy?" I go, "I don't know." I found him on Facebook. He goes, "Well, what's this about?" I said, "It's this cool case." He goes, "Well, who's sponsoring him? What companies does he know? I mean, where has he spoken before?" I said, "Nowhere. He's like 30 years old. He's a young kid." So we put this thing in, and about 2 months later, he gets a call from 3Shape. And 3Shape said, "Hey, we saw your article, and would you be interested in coming to our next forum? We'll pay for your way there."
Yeah.
And you've presented at the forum. And now he's speaking for 3Shape. He's speaking all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's just off of a Facebook post. So anybody can do it.
Yeah. And those of you that are thinking for 1 second, I just want to say this to you, that think it's a conflict or it's not right because it is a magazine that wants to know the products you use. Isn't that real life, what you and I do every day? Like, when I read something, my first thing is or if I'm in a lecture, I always raise my hand. What are you using to take that impression? It's no different. It's that kind of exchange back and forth. I love it.
Well, it's educational. I mean, my whole point is to bring educational pieces, and even if it's a complex case, let's kind of, the Scott Gans and Isaac Table, they write these cases.
Yeah.
All sorts of extractions and implants and this and that. But what they do is they show you the steps. And even though these steps are way beyond what you may even think you can do,
Sure.
you understand what they use. They use these sutures. They use this bone grafting material. They did this drill. They use this whatever, and that's what makes it easy. So you don't have to be that, but you don't have to be that elaborate. It's just every dentist can learn something from every other dentist. I mean, just the fact of using something like, I'll use Gloomer as an example. A
Yeah.
lot of dentists they go, oh yeah, we know. Well, you better use it. It's a desensitizer. After you etch, you use the Gloomer. So by someone saying that in an article, they go, huh, I never thought of that.
Sure.
No sensitivity all of a sudden, things like that.
So I want
And
to
then,
just give you two more questions because you've been good with your
sorry.
time. No, I appreciate it. The first question I have for you is, I mean, you read way more articles than any of us. So where do you is it, where?
CE, I go to CE every day. This is the best
Yeah,
thing for me.
exactly. Where do you think the profession is headed in terms of technology? I mean, my quick answer would be, it already feels over my head in many ways. I'll tell you why. Because I don't do my own printing in my office, and I don't know. Where do you think everything's going?
You said the magic word. People, I think, if you're fully digital, and this you're starting off, the must-haves where you had to have an intraoral camera and digital X-rays. Now it's pretty much you need a cone beam, intraoral scanner, and some software to start. I'll use Exocad as an example, 3Shape or whatever. To get your diagnosis proper, you're going to need 3D imaging of everything, internal, external, be able to merge those things and get a treatment plan to a patient, whether it's the simplest restoration or the most complex case or ortho or anything like that. And then something that you can do, you can mill certain things as Sarah has been doing for 40 plus
Yeah,
years already. But 3D printing has opened up some interesting ways of things you can do. You can print your own gauze. You can print. Soon you'll be able to print your own aligners. There's some material out there that prints aligners, surgical guides, dentures. We're printing dentures now. There's a whole new workflow to do dentures in 2 or 3 visits digitally. It's nuts. Do you have to have a printer in your office? I'd say you don't have to, but the prices are under $10,000. Now it's a razor blade deal because the resins, each box of resin costs about $400 or $500. So yeah, but still, if you're at this point in time, if I could start my new
yeah,
practice, I'd be when a patient comes in, let's say they just needed 4 crowns. I'm going to do this all digital. I'm going to scan the whole thing in pre-op, design it on the computer, prep the teeth, and the computer is going to design my temps. I'm going to print my temps, put the temps in, and the beauty here is the patient's going to wear those temps, and they go, you know what? I don't like the way this is looking. No problem. You make your change on the temps, scan the temps, make another set of temps. You print another set of temps. Say, how to try these for a while, and then that's sort of, you don't go crazy.
sure,
And then you send it to the lab, and then the labs are all digital. When you send an impression to a lab, they're scanning the impressions now.
sure.
So that's where it's headed. And artificial intelligence is coming in, crashing in on
So
us.
where's that going to play? What role is AI going to play?
Right now, it's jumped. The first big jump is in reading radiographs, and every GP can say the same story. I'm in the middle of prepping a tooth. The eye just, hey doc, I'm ready for an exam. You go, oh man. So you run out and go, yeah, 3MO.
Yeah, yeah,
So if you have artificial intelligence, and don't let the artificial intelligence tell you what to do, but it gives you hints.
okay,
Look at this. Check this open margin. Check this. It's just, and you have to, don't check your brain. My friend Marty Jablow says, don't check your brain at the door. Look at things, but you have in split seconds, everything's sitting in front of you, and all the answers are there. But you're not going to go ahead and say, well, the computer says you have 12 cavities, and we're going to have to all fill them. Doc, I haven't had a filling in 20 years. Well, the computer says. It's a
yes,
guy. I call it Jiminy Cricket for those old enough who Jiminy Cricket is.
I know he
So,
is.
but and there's also AI coming into our telephones, listening to telephone calls and telling you what you said right and wrong. A company called Patient Prism. I mean, it's kind of creepy, but it's
You
amazing.
mean for our front desk teams?
Yep.
Let
Yep.
me ask you something that I know a lot of dentists, including myself, ask. So when you go to do some of the things you just said, if you got involved with AI to help read caries and other things, I love that idea. And I know, I'm not asking you to compromise yourself, but I know there's not one company that offers this, and that. what's the best way for a dentist to know, like, who to go
So
with?
that goes with anything, whether it's composites or AI. You have to poll some of the
Do your
users. I
homework.
really think
Yeah.
that you really have to, look at the people who are selling it are dentists, but a lot of them are salespeople that try to make a sale. And once you hook up with a company, they're getting a monthly revenue, so they're gonna be very nice to you. But right now, the big names, I don't want to jump into the
Yeah.
big names, but there's a bunch of big names, and they're all very good.
Okay.
Each one handles it slightly differently. So, but it's really, and this is where things like Facebook and Instagram, places, and all sorts of different chat rooms and whatever, and videos such as this give you a hint on, Dr. So and so used this one. Now, people always think the worst thing they do is they say, "Well, Paul, what do you
Right.
use?" I use what I use because I use it. It works in my hands. I was using
Sure.
Carestream. 3Shape had a better scanner, but I liked the Carestream at certain points. So I was using Carestream scanner, and why? Well, because I liked it. I mean, it worked. So that's a hard thing. But the other thing in AI is ortho is turning on its head, because now, and then let me just run this real quickly. COVID introduced the problem that we had kids in ortho, adults in ortho,
Yeah.
couldn't come in for their checks. So a couple of companies, and one of them was called, oh God, I'll have to say in a second. Anyway, I'll think of it in a minute. It's coming France. Came out with an idea of they could take digital photos with a cell phone and transfer those into 3D images to see if the teeth have moved in the proper direction. And so you could have a patient, you could give them all their retainers, all the aligners, I mean.
Yeah.
Say, take a photo every 2 weeks and send us the photo through this
And they'll
app,
send you
special
a new
app.
liner.
But you
Liner.
have a little retractor, and there's like
Yeah.
a thing to it. What's it called? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm not remembering the name. And I'm going to come up with an answer. Anyway, but you can cut your chair time by 10 visits.
Wow.
I mean, the patient has to sometimes, but the AI says the line is not sitting properly, or if there's a broken bracket, or there's inflammation over here, or you're going to need a refinement, all through the AI. And ortho is going to be giant.
Is that out already, or it's coming out?
Yeah, that is out.
Are
That
you
is
allowed to
out.
say what that company is? If you're not, it's okay.
There's a few.
Okay.
I'll just say there's a few right now.
Okay.
Because I can't.
Sure. No, it's fine. It's fine. So, last question is, you're a senior dentist like your host, me. What would that version tell Paul Feuerstein if he just was getting out of dental school today? This is an important question because a lot of the guys that follow me some are in dental school, some are in their 20s, 30s. And so, what would you tell? You covered some of it already. What would you tell yourself? You're graduating this year. What's your best start from the editor-in-chief of Dentistry Today, who's exposed to so many dentists that I can't even do the computation of it? What would you tell yourself to do?
Two letters.
Go ahead.
CE. That's the end of the story.
My man. I'm the same guy.
You have to. You learn things I have it right now in my own office. There's another associate who's been out for about a year and a half. She's great clinical skills, and she was doing something. And I said, "Well, why don't you do this?" She goes, "I didn't learn that in school." I said, "Well, let me show you something. There's a video. You can take this free video course on this particular thing." YouTube is full of stuff. There's a lot of free stuff, and some of the stuff is very inexpensive. I think, and this is being an old guy. To me, I want to see it. I want to see it live.
Yeah, me too.
I want David Hornbrook to be standing up there showing me what he did right and what he did wrong, which is what's great about David. And I think that's really it. Is that you take a school set of skills, and number one, if you have the luxury of working in an office with a senior dentist, don't just work in your own room and ignore the dentist. See what they're doing,
Sure.
and why they're doing it. How they do that, and ask a lot of questions. But there's so much CE out right now, all over the place, online. It takes time, but you got to do it, and take a simple thing like how to do a composite. It sounds so stupid. Follow the rules. There's a sequence. I mean, Gordon Christensen's been doing this for years and years and years, and his courses are still valid. And he has people that he brings in too. So a course like Gordon's once a year to see what the hell's going on in dentistry, and you sit there and you go, "What? I never heard of that."
Sure.
So I think that's the best thing I can explain.
Well, that's a good answer. I'm glad you.
I mean, I went to his class every single year for years and years. I can't. We're friends at this point because we both hang out with the big shots. So
Yeah.
I can call him, Gordon, what about this thing? And say, Paul, what about that thing?
Well, listen, I feel personally fortunate to know you. I feel fortunate that you were willing to take over. I mean, I do. I fear for the future sometimes of things like Dentistry Today, because you got to really be passionate about the profession to want to do what you're doing. I'm sure as hell pretty clear that you're not doing it because of the money. Am I right?
It's never, well, okay, don't forget where I grew up. I'm a child of the 60s. I'm a Woodstock child. We didn't give a crap about money. I have stuff behind me. I have books and things like that. I'm not a collector. You know, it's an old Jewish joke. This guy was this Jewish guy. This Jewish guy was in an accident, got hit by a car. The EMTs came over and said, "Are you comfortable?" He goes, "I make a good living."
Well, listen, I thank you. You didn't have to do this for me. And I think a lot of my listeners got a lot of gems from you today. And I appreciate you personally, my friend.
Well, and vice versa too. I mean, we've worked together on a couple of things, great, and and I've watched you through my years. You've been one of my little, you've been my little CE butt asterisks here and there for things. So, everybody has something to learn from somebody. Period.
Well, thanks, Paul. And again, thank you for being a part of it. And we'll see you next week on The Lionhearted. Join me on October 18th and 19th for 2+ days of inspiration and real business training. This is the course that changes everything. Attendance is limited. Register now.